And then on top of that, of course, the non-marketers of the world have a point of view that you no longer need humans because AI can just do the marketing for you. And we all know that that's bullshit. Let's put that out there. You still need humans.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dynamics Corner. What does AI have anything to do with your marketing and what you should do? I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on April 24th, 2026. Kris. AI is all over the place. And we had a wonderful discussion today with someone who understands how you can incorporate AI into your marketing strategies and your marketing plans. With us today, we had the opportunity to speak with Lisa Cole.
Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. All things considered, the nice weather is coming and the world's moving fast and I'm trying to slow down. So I don't know where that leaves me.
Yeah.
Still
all
lost.
the above here for sure.
Yeah, it's I was thinking before we were about to speak about how much has changed since the last time we spoke in the world. If you think about that, it's, everyone's talking about AI. Everyone's talking about how they can improve efficiency within the organization, and using AI doesn't necessarily mean a lot of people have the feeling that it's coding only, but it's really not coding. Really, you can gain some organizational and operational efficiencies from it as well. And it's almost like the conversations that we plan to have, we almost just have to start having, because if we sleep, what was relevant a month ago is irrelevant today. I would even say sometimes it's a week.
Yeah, I think as it relates to all things AI's impact on the world, week by week. Anytime I think that I have a real sense of how things are evolved and you can kind of settle into something, another model comes out, a new capability emerges, someone figures out how to apply AI in a new and innovative way, thinking about things like your second brain, and let's use Obsidian, a note taker, to give you context in a way that feels less cumbersome and friction. Like you don't need to be an engineer to figure that out. It's mind-blowing.
It's definitely
Agreed.
shorter and shorter. I know, new content every week. It's relevant for the week. I do believe that it's getting shorter than that. Because, I would say 72 hours is where I think is where it's only relevant up to 72 hours. Anything more than that, it's like people moved on.
Yeah. I think the only thing that having those conversations, even though a week from now, a month from now, it's outdated, it's that you are consistently putting out a point of view and staying on top of it. And in time, they realize, okay, so this is a human that's making a significant investment to stay on top of what is happening and how it's evolving and the implications of that. And I don't have a lot of time to figure out how that human is doing it, so I'm just going to follow that person. Even if what they might have just published yesterday is no longer relevant tomorrow, I'm still going to stay listening to Brad because Brad is paying attention. And I don't have enough time to take all of these sources and distill it on a regular basis. I'll let him do it, and then I'll just stay in touch with him.
Yes, it's a good way to go. I think I've come to accept it's more understanding of concept and capability than the how, because the how is what's changing. But I think some of these concepts and capabilities they're progressing, but it's within the same framework or method. I could talk about this all day long, but before we get more into that, would you mind telling everyone a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. I'm Lisa Cole. I'm currently the Chief Marketing and AI Officer here at 2X. 2X is a global B2B go-to-market subscription services provider. We basically work with B2B enterprises, scale their go-to-market impact without skyrocketing costs or headcount. You could argue that I'm the marketer for marketers, right? So my favorite part of my role right now is a couple things, but I'm basically helping people like me that have been dealing with challenges I've been dealing with over the last 25 years. Now, having said that, the reason why I'm so excited about and also somewhat hesitant about this phase that we're in is because AI is kind of rewriting marketing on two fronts, right? It's changing how we are researching and evaluating solutions and how we are making decisions and everything that we buy, whether it's, I just bought a $300 bird feeder that has an AI camera so I could see which birds are coming in through a car, or a $200,000 tech platform. I'm now using AI to surface potential solutions and then even helping me understand how to take all the information I'm finding and rationalize it down so I can make a decision faster. That's changing how marketing, like that's quite literally changing how marketing, sales, how companies are kind of meeting the buyers where they're at now. It's dramatically increased the surface area that we have to cover and be findable and chosen in. We also, it's not just the surface area, all these different watering holes and answer engines. It's now humans and machines I have to worry about. So I can't even just put a point of view out there in such a way that I'm confident that the human I'm trying to influence a decision, that they can find me, that they can understand what we're saying, and that they'll choose me. I know I have to think about agents finding my content, understanding what I'm saying, and then still choose me of all the things. And then on top of that, of course, the non-marketers of the world have a point of view that you no longer need humans because AI can just do the marketing for you. And we all
AI
know that
can do
Yes.
everything.
I'll put that out there. You still need humans, but the work that the humans are doing anywhere in the go-to-market function of any company, that work is going to change. How we get that work done is going to change. So I kind of sit at the intersection of that, and I love it, honestly.
That is, there's so much to that. And I'm honest when I say someone asked me this morning, and it's relevant to something you had just mentioned. How can I be seen?
Yeah.
These are the questions, because now, even when you look for, I think, like you had mentioned, the method that buyers find products is different.
Yeah.
Many years ago, when I was a child, you would see a commercial on television. And that commercial on television, or you'd see a newspaper ad or a magazine ad and go, oh, that's interesting. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today, I can type something in a search bar on any one of the browsers, and I get an AI summary. I no longer, just a short period of time ago, it used to be, here are all of the web pages that match that. Now it's an AI summary, which consists of bits and pieces from many different sources. So I can see how marketing has changed, and how can someone who has a product adapt and have a better position in this type of world?
Well, I don't know that you can adapt and be findable and understandable and chosen, be seen in all of these watering holes, unless you also use AI to do this at scale. Like, you quite literally have the disruption you're feeling as it relates to being seen by AI answer engines and humans in all the different places. The scale is now so much that you actually do need to be smart about how you use AI to produce or deliver the experiences that are needed to be seen at scale. Like, the resources have never been sufficient anyways, right? I've never met, in 25 years, I've never met a marketer that would say that they had the resources that were consistent with the expectations the organization had for what it was that marketing was doing. It was never even. We never had the resources. Well, now, on top of the increased expectations, and they are getting higher every day, there's now a belief that we could do it with fewer resources because of AI. So that gap,
I think that's everywhere. They think that,
everywhere. Whether it doesn't matter what function you're in, but it's especially true in go-to-market teams, marketing and sales. One of the things that we have learned from an AI visibility, like how do I make sure that we are seen, knowing that these answer engines are aggregating data from multiple sources, there isn't a magic bullet. The answer is you quite literally need to be everywhere all at once. And to do that, you need AI to take the core big rock asset, the human produced point of view, thinking, guidance, and be able to replicate or repurpose that in such a way that it's findable in all of the watering holes where the humans and machines are looking.
Wow, you make that sound so easy.
No?
I need to do is I'm being
it's intimidating.
Being a little sarcastic. It is intimidating because, as you had mentioned, we no longer can create a website, for example, or another brochure in a magazine. If anyone even reads magazines, I know the publishing's going down. I mean, there's so many different areas.
Yeah.
You do need to be everywhere at once, I believe, because people come in from all different avenues.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding in this whole journey is everyone has the same questions. How do I start? Everyone's saying, in the context of what we just talked about, you have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But how do you get to be everywhere?
Yeah. About a year and a half ago, I published a book called Brain Gravity. And the catalyst for that was there were lots of research studies that had come out that had documented how the buying journey, like how our buying journey had changed. And the scary takeaway from these, I think there were 3 different independent research studies that basically said that we are doing the majority of our research now anonymously. But before we were willing to talk to a human being in any way, we had formed a finalist list about 85% of the time. And once we talked to a human being, and I'm assuming sales rep in the context of companies that sell to other companies, we went into that conversation with the finalist list, and 90-something% of the time, we picked the first choice on our finalist list that was locked before I talked to the human. So statistically, if you weren't on that finalist list, your odds of even getting onto that list after they've started the conversation, with sales was slim to none. But your odds of winning, even if you were on the finalist list, if you weren't in the pole position, you weren't getting it. So
that is,
go back to the original question, how do you make sure you're on that list?
Yes.
And the rabbit hole I went down was I was trying to figure out how are all these startups stealing market share from industry leading trusted brands that dominated for decades. And the one thing they all had in common was that the founders were they were building in public and putting out a lot of smart and helpful content. It's almost like they were giving all the value for free in podcasts and YouTube channels, on LinkedIn and shorts in their posts, quite literally being humans and giving away their secret sauce for free. And effectively, us as humans, we were finding that stuff and consuming it. For me, I will binge listen to podcasts for 5 hours while I'm folding laundry on a Saturday afternoon. By the time I get done with that binge listening and I'm ready to make a decision, I get on a call with them. I feel like I know them. They could sell me anything and I'm going to buy it because I already know they know how to solve my problems.
Yeah, that's key.
So that
never do that.
That's
key.
It's
it's important, and I'm happy to hear that you say that because I understand the perspective. So basically, what I heard you say is that the buyers almost form a relationship with you before they even make that first call, where before it wasn't they would just call, hey, what can you do? How do you do? It's when they talk with you, they pretty much already know what you can do.
Yeah.
And by you putting out that free content, and it's not just free content, it's free, meaningful content, right?
Yeah.
That will help them solve their problem because it validates you.
Yeah.
That's important because I think some organizations, some some organizations and individuals that I've spoken with, they get into that. I don't want to share the information because I don't want to give away my secrets. And from what you're saying and your experience and what you've, the rabbit hole that you've gone down, that hurts you in today's age.
It'll hold you back. Corporations that think that secret sauce, that's their IP, and they can't give it away, they're going to lock it behind the forms, and they've got to lock it and maybe even charge for it. That's the reason why they're losing share to these startup, AI native startups that are building in public, and they're giving away the stuff for free. They are being disrupted. So back to the comment I made about brand gravity, that notion of that, most of our research and evaluation now is happening online. So the theory is you need to build up enough digital mass online that be findable and understandable by both humans and machines. And if you have that digital mass, that your brand, there'll be such strong gravity that it pulls the buyer into your orbit, and it keeps them there until they are ready to make a decision. You're not forcing them there, but you put enough value out that gravity gets so strong that they want to stay with you until they're ready to make a decision. And the only way you do that is with digital mass. Now, the good thing is that AI, while it's also changing the way people are buying, and that feels disruptive, AI could be used to do that, to build that digital mass at scale. So if you have an original thought, if you have that secret sauce that you can put out in the world, you could record an hour-long podcast, you can record an hour-long YouTube video, you can put out a series of blog posts on LinkedIn. There's just a number of assets. You can take that and use AI to repurpose it in dozens of other assets and make sure that those other assets are found and understood in different locations. And I think that's the doing it at scale. So
I see. So it goes back to, everyone thinks AI can do everything. AI in marketing can have help because you can create your content. There's different types of marketing. We're talking presentation type content in this form. It's not so daunting to create the content any longer because you can sit and speak freely for an hour, which you would do, and then use AI to help you dissect or pull apart that content and distribute it on many different channels. And that's how you can get found.
And that's how you get found and understood. Great.
What about, I use LinkedIn. It's the only social platform that I use now. And I'll leave my thoughts on that as the changes of LinkedIn as time. But I see more and more content being produced on AI, by AI, on LinkedIn, where it's a platform that originally I use it for sharing like business discussions, business knowledge.
Yeah.
And many do use it for marketing to talk about their businesses. And I wonder sometimes how effective that is now if we use AI to create this content and push out this content. Is there a strategy for doing so where you don't get lost in that noise? Is there certain things to do? I see AI speak, I see AI images, I see a lot of things that I don't know if I feel the same personally about a product or a person if it just has that look to it.
Yeah, well, it does need to be compelling and differentiated. It needs to be different than what other people are saying. It can't be generic. It does need to, and we could talk about ways you can use AI to scale that presence, but it still needs to be a compelling point of view. It needs to be something that not everyone is saying. It needs to have some sort of value, right? It can't just be generic that any AI answer engine or chatbot can answer. There's got to be some interesting angle that gets applied to it, some value that the human that is the expert kind of incorporates into it. So if it's the same thing everyone's talking about and it's no more sophisticated, or there's no additional depth than what a ChatGPT might answer with. It's got to be slop. If it includes, and then of course there's also the checklist of all the things that are indicative of it being written entirely by AI. But there are ways to humanize that output. It still starts with the thought, though. It still starts with the compelling point of view. The things that are working on LinkedIn, genuinely where people are really making it a point to follow, they're making it a point to save. LinkedIn's algorithm is heavily influenced by the number of saves of a post. And the things that are driving what people are saving is it checks all those boxes. It's valuable. There's a depth to it that they can't get necessarily off of asking a question in ChatGPT and just getting that list. There's a lot of substance, there's a lot of detail, so much detail that they're afraid to lose the thing. Like, all right, I'm going to save this, I'm going to come back to it, because there's more than the 2,500 characters that LinkedIn might. Could be carousels, it could be infographics. A lot of value is given away in that thing. That's what works. That, and it's also got to be coming from a human and not a corporate page. We have reached the point now where people genuinely only trust other people, and only if those other people are giving away their secret sauce. And so that's what's working. So I think we're seeing there's an explosion of agencies that are focused only on LinkedIn, and the primary strategy is it's great. You as a company want to improve your followership and engagement on LinkedIn. The way to do that within your company, I want to talk to your subject matter experts, and I want to amplify their voices, and then by design, their brand is going to transfer to your company. That's the entire premise of this new emerging agency landscape, is that, because if there's a recognition that we're kind of done with corporate brands.
I think that's fits to what you were saying earlier. Is for them to hear from someone in the organization rather than a corporate page. For myself, I don't interact with anything that a corporate page would post. I'd rather hear it from someone, a leader in that organization, that I can build trust, that, hey, they're just like me. I want to interact with them. They fit exactly what I'm looking for. It's much easier to do that, especially if you're a small company or small business, to be able to just share from a leadership standpoint, because it's like they're expressing the vision of the organization rather than a sales pitch. Like we just get tired of that. Like, I don't want to hear a sales pitch. I want to know what he sees or she sees in this the company that they're running.
Yeah. The only when I think about corporate pages, I like to know when there's an acquisition or a merger, right? I would expect to kind of stay on top. It's almost like a news feed, like truly a news update. Something's happening with the company, but I still want to see the CEO's point of view of what's happening, or the head of product's point of view of the merger between two companies, or I want to know the marketer's point of view of a rebrand or a product that's been launched, right? I want the human's point of view. I don't know that corporate pages were ever really something that we all waited to, consume. I think there's so much noise now. Now we are much better at saying, you know what? No, really, I'm not. People buy from people. I'm going to focus on the people within those organizations, and I'm going to trust them. Now, if they point me to something the corporate page has said, maybe it's hey, this is the new feature set that we just launched, like Claude, Anthropic. I mean, just every week, it's a new thing that they're shipping. Somebody in the org that I'm following, I love their point of view. I'll click through to the thing that maybe the corporate page put out about the newest release of Claude Design or something. And that's probably the pull through. Whereas before, I think maybe we were somewhat under the delusion that people bought from companies. I think now people realize that people buy from people within those companies, and that's where the trust is.
That's the relationship that matters.
They follow as well. Like if someone, like I've noticed where someone leaves an organization, they move to another, they want to follow. Okay, what are they working on next? I want to be part of that. I want to be involved, or I want to maybe do business with that person because they did so well So it's like that personal brand of that individual. It's more important than ever, because unless you are a founder, you stick to the same organization, the same company. But for people that are C-suite or vice president level, they want to follow that person.
Yeah. The great thing about, and this is, I think, maybe the best opportunity for those industry leading large enterprise companies, no better time than right now for the go-to-market leaders, let's say the marketing leaders, to bring forward a business case that shows that this is in fact true. It's time. Let me amplify the voices of our employees versus let me continue to try to run uphill against, it's a losing battle, right? Like, instead of me trying to intensify, put out more posts from the corporate page, let me now use my resources. Let's work together to find who are the smart and helpful people in this organization that, candidly would resonate with our target audience, and let me put them on blast. Let me just focus my resources on amplifying their voices. And we have to trust that if we care for those employees, they'll want to stay with us, right?
It's interesting.
Hard battle.
Yes,
it's hard, and
yeah,
it's humanizing now. I think in the world, what I'm picking up from the conversation that you're saying and we're having is, I can't even speak today. I'm picking up from the conversation that we are having.
Yeah.
We're in an age of the human factor in the buying cycle. So from the marketing point of view, it's not only the concrete hard product that we have, it's the human aspect of the product. That could be the people behind the product. That could be how you have human interaction with the product to make your life more pleasant with what product it is, and having humans. I've been saying for a long time, and I sit here listening to your words. Relationships are going to matter the most going forward in a world where everything is fake. And I don't want to say fake in the sense that it's not true, but everything is generated automatically. And the effort behind it is no longer what it used to be. It used to be, if you had to create an infographic, that you would spend a lot of time with it. You'd have an artist or somebody who knew graphic design, tell them what you want. They'd lay it out. They'd have to understand. Now I can say, here's a transcript of my podcast.
Yeah.
Create an infographic for me. So I think
you got it there, Brad, for the relationship component. I think if we go back to how Brad and I put this podcast together, we wanted to have a platform for people that are behind the products and services in our dynamic space. So it was very important for us to kind of create a platform for that. But there's always still that struggle where, Lisa, you had mentioned that you want to amplify the voices within your organization that could influence people that maybe that follows them or someone that can relate to them. But you do have organizations where they would discourage that. Because you're right. Well, what if they want to leave because they're exposing and they're going to get poached and stuff like that? But I think that's a terrible approach of like not amplifying, because if you champion your people, say, put some content out there, they're going to know where you work, right? They're going to look at your profile. It's like, oh, Brad works there. I want to. And it's like, he knows what he's talking about. Oh, I can't believe they're working on these amazing things that fits what I'm looking for. That's how you reach to that human aspect. Of course, you use your AI to kind of amplify more of those voices, but it's such a interesting time right now where you still have organizations like, no, like don't put out, if you need to put something out, put it under the corporate thing and then put your name at the bottom. No, give them a channel to do that.
The other way around. Yeah.
Yes.
My first CMO role was for a global management consultancy. And one of the things I remember bringing forward this idea of a visible expert program. This is a large global management consultancy. We had hundreds, but I'll just go with this, 150 or so managing directors that truly were an expert in solving real business challenges for healthcare, higher ed, digital transformation initiatives for companies. 150 people that many of them had written books. They had their own frameworks. They really were trusted advisors for people like them in their field. And my first pass at this was, I want to, we have this sad little page on our website that has the names, and you could click on the names of the people and send them a web form, right? You want to talk to this person. No bios, no real information, not a collection of their thinking, their white papers, like none of that thing. So the business pitch was, I think our billable rates and the utilization rate will dramatically increase if you let me start talking about these experts. Let me actually amplify them and their voices. And initially, there were some leaders in the C-suite. They're like, well, we're worried about poaching. It's like, well, to be clear, if we treat them right and we amplify their voices and we strengthen their personal brand, they're going to want to stay with the company because they recognize how much you value them. And I ended up going out and there was a company called Hinge University that had done research on what happens when a company invests in personal brand of their people, how that transfers and how it impacts the organizations they work with. Use that data and by the way, the big piece that came from it, if you were intentional in increasing the awareness of that person within the network, they had 5 levels that they had defined, and those levels would give you a premium of billable hours, and it would dramatically increase the profitability of the firm. Like, it was one of those things. I brought that data, they let me do that, and we completely redesigned the website. So every one of our experts almost had their own microsite. It was them, their experiences, their speaking engagements, their books, their articles. It was almost like an entire experience around it. Fast forward, that company is now worth it's certainly over $1 billion in revenue, and a dramatic increase in growth through the pandemic at a time where people are thinking consultancies would be under pressure. They really leaned in, and they really did an excellent job of executing against that over the last decade. They were kind of ahead. Now we're seeing how AI native companies doing this are quite literally stealing market share from these organizations that had that, no, the corporate brand, we only invest in the corporate brand. Like, we're afraid to invest in personal brand. So I think by design, the disruption is just so, it's undeniable. There isn't an industry leading organization out there that's not feeling pressure of AI native startups coming in and stealing their lunch from them. I think this is going to be the thing that will differentiate those that will continue to have a lasting or durable brand and survive this next phase, and those that will give it up to these rapidly growing AI native startups.
We're talking about the brand, and you mentioned consultancy.
Yeah.
So you have the brand of the individual and the consultancy. Yeah. What about organizations that are product based?
Yeah, the same is true. And actually, I think this is probably more true than ever, right? Organizations could be developing 10 years ago, they would develop a product, they put it out there, they might iterate on it, but there was the barrier to entry for the competitors was just so high to catch up with the Salesforce, as an example. Now, there are real startups that can replicate fairly sophisticated platforms using AI, and the thing that's going to be the competitive moat, it really is going to be those that are actually building those capabilities, bringing it to market, them actually sharing the smart and helpful content. That's going to be the competitive moat, not necessarily the ability to produce and bring a product to market. It's going to be the guidance that you give along with that product to solve real business, real challenges. That's going to be the competitive moat. AI is going to be the great neutralizer here.
It seems to be. It really changes or has changed the way that content's consumed and content is produced in its all forms. And I've had conversations with marketing teams. Some will say AI can't do it. I think you have this in any industry or brand or group or department. And I think some of it is fear-based or unknown, not really knowing and understanding the tool, just saying, it's not helpful, or I can't do anything with it. So it's important, it sounds, to adopt the use of the technology, but be pointed and effective with how you put out the information that you want about your product.
Yeah.
And you talked about websites for a little bit before.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there was many years where our website was, you put together a certain way, you put together a brand for searches. What is the importance of that now? Or is it more of how you, what types of content you put on it?
Websites in general will look wildly different in a year than they do today or what they did in the past. And I think the biggest influence on that is that increasingly we're going to continue to use AI agents or answer engines to do our research for us. And so increasingly this is going to be machines that are going to be the consumers of the websites. Now there's a crosswalk between where we're currently at and where we will eventually get to. But I would imagine that, that navigating that crosswalk basically means you're not really going to have heavily branded sites anymore. You're going to have you have to make it easy for the person to get the answer to their question as fast as possible. And so the user interface will probably dramatically simple and be more of a conversation, whether that's a chat conversation or quite literally a video avatar that of somebody that you're talking to get the answers to your questions. But increasingly, between that and the human's tolerance for having to dig through a large hierarchy of multiple pages to get their answers to their questions, just like we kind of lost our tolerance for sea of blue links, those things are going away. The big hero image, unless it's just a backdrop to a chat that I can actually get the answer, I could care less, right? It's already starting to change.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But the design of the website needs to be findable and understood by agents. And that's going to drive a significant shift with how the website is set up, how the content is formatted. We're already starting to see that, right? I was on a CMO call just before this, and one of the CMOs had added a very simple feature to her website, which was, I think it was something like Ask the AI. And it was like the ability to just completely not have to deal with any of the navigation and get to answering the question. But there was also a capability that it basically was for AI models, information here. It was almost like it was set up for the agents to get its version of your site that was free of all the stuff that the humans needed. That's an example of 2 additions she made to her website and saw a dramatic increase in conversion rate was the most important. It wasn't really traffic. It was about those that actually wanted to talk to them. 2 simple things where you go to the website and you think, wow, they're actually giving an agent the ability to choose its own adventure while also enabling the human to not have to go through 10 pages. That's crazy. And that's now. Imagine what that will look like in a year from now.
I think we'll regress back to 1990 when we just had text websites with very little graphics that just had text. It's history repeats itself. I keep saying over and over again. So. If you look at technology, but I think we will get back to that point where I think you hit the key point now, because even using these AI chat tools, you pick any one of the platforms that are available, you do have conversations saying, I'm looking for this. Okay, what about this? Yeah. Oh, does it do this? So I think having that information. So that's, again, something helpful with anybody looking to market their product, services. I guess that's the only thing you can market is product and services. So
I also recognize that each one of these chatbots are somewhat biased by where it's getting its data from. And so from its training data. So I now know, okay, I'm going to go to Perplexity. I'm going to ask that question. And I'm going to send it off and do my research. And then I'm actually going to go to Manus AI, which has been my favorite tool for a year. And I will have it go off and come back with the answers to my questions. And neither of which do I have to really intervene. They're agents that are running in a terminal, and they just go out and do all the research for you and distill it. And then I can ask a couple more questions. But the last thing I'm doing is a typical blue link search. And even once I get to a point where I have an answer, I will have it go do all the research on the website and come back to me with the data points I need to know, including links to any assets I should read, right? Like, oh, this white paper is on this topic. It's just think about the website that's needed to support that. And maybe I'm a little ahead because I kind of lean pretty hard into leveraging AI. But I don't think I'm that far ahead. Like, I think a year from now, the adoption of AI will obviously continue to grow. It's already quarter over quarter. The adoption is accelerating faster than the internet did. That was the most recent article I saw the other day.
I believe I saw that too.
I think, well, you can't go one step without hearing something about AI, but you hit on something with that, just thinking about human behavior of yourself. And sometimes if you have a product, it's the human behavior of your audience that you're looking to sell to.
Right.
I am like you. I set something off, go through and do research, even to the point where give me the names and contact information of the people that I need to talk with, versus just like you said, versus spending the time to scroll in. I love to read books, which is what got us talking about. I do want to talk about your new book as well, too. I can sit and read books, but now when I'm on the internet and web pages, I can't sit and read through a lot of text. I just need to know what I'm looking. I have questions already that I want answered. It's no longer I'm reading to see if they answer my question. I show up somewhere saying, here are my questions. Give me the answers. If you pass, great. If you fail, great. I keep moving. So it's, I think that's an important part of someone marketing that. Again, take a look at human behavior as it's progressing. And as you had mentioned, not everybody is in that phase yet, but that group is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And
right. Yeah.
And now I don't even type. I'm sorry to say.
Whisper flow is my friend. I talk. People around me train like, look, there are not going to be any spaces between my sentences. I'm sorry. Like I now dictate everything.
It is. It's how we've progressed. So it's the same thing with doing the research. So it's good. It's important to see about the acceleration and the adoption of AI in the marketing space.
Yeah.
And some things that organizations can consider, marketing departments can consider as they're putting together their strategy for marketing their products and services, because the traditional ways of you're going to find me sitting over here in the corner, I think, are gone.
Yeah, I agree. Well, some of them are there, right? As humans, we're still going to crave, I think you said it earlier, we're still going to crave like experiences with other humans. So there are like old school things that us marketers were doing like a decade ago, where we really leaned in experiences at events that were for small, intimate settings, of our target audience. Those like community, we're witnessing the rise of, communities built around either this role or these challenges that people were trying to solve for. We are seeing that. At the same time, we're also seeing people use AI to research and evaluate potential solutions. And that's the challenge for marketers. If you are a marketer in a mid-market or an enterprise company now, you now actually have to care about delivering both the human experiences and having the resources, that's very resource intense, as well as, thinking about how AI is kind of changing how we research and evaluate potential vendors and solutions. I need both. And what's not going to work now, what this does is it breaks this operating model that go-to-market leaders of these mid-market and enterprise startups are very different. They can operate with a different velocity. The challenge is if you're in a company that has any sort of size at all, mid-market, enterprise, maybe you have a marketing team of 50 people, you are likely operating in an operating model that is now broken. Like you quite literally do not have the resources needed to address all of this. And the mindset shift that's going to happen would be a couple things. One is your first answer to a resource problem can't be, can I hire another person? Like you quite literally, you may even find yourself in a situation, let's say you're PE backed, you might not even have the ability to add any headcount at all. In fact, you might be hearing, oh, I heard this AI thing mean you don't need as many humans. You should just use the AI, and you might even be in a situation where they're telling you to reduce the number of roles in your team. But as marketers, we actually know you still need the human. Now, the human's doing different work, right? So if you are producing or editing videos, maybe you're not going to take the next 2 weeks to edit a video like this down. Maybe you're using Descript or Gling or a video editing tool to be able to edit and repurpose it in an hour or two, whatever that might be. But you still actually kind of need the human to do that body of work and know what good looks like before it gets published on a channel. If you know that to be true, you're going to have to get good at two things: figuring out how and when to use outsourcing in whatever form that looks like. It could be a specialist agency that only does LinkedIn thought leadership, as an example. It could be offshore resources for execution. It could be, let's say, a brand agency. If you're going to kind of think about brand repositioning, they're all forms: freelancers, freelancer platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. A lot of options. You're going to have to start making some choices between asking for more headcount and figuring out what levers that exist to you. And then secondly, you can't wait on accelerating your adoption of AI. You can't outsource the thinking. You can't let your team figure it out. Like, if you are not leaning in heavily to figuring out highest impact, lowest effort ways to apply AI, you're in trouble. Somebody else is going to do it for you. And I'm a big believer, don't get until like you're on a burning platform to make a change. Like, before the thing is smoking, do something about it.
Make the change before it's too late, because when it's too late, it's too late. It's like it's hard to change the platform when it's burning.
Yeah, you don't want to look anytime. Look, nobody wants it. Doing anything while you're on fire is hard. So why wait until that moment? And doing anything when you're under duress or because somebody else has made the decision for you also sucks. Like, both of those things are not fun. So you do have some time. I think you have 9 to 18 months to really actually get a handle of this and accelerate it, like make your own decisions. I don't think you have much more than 18 months to figure that out, though.
I have to write this down. We have to see and follow up, because I like to say a lot of things. No, and I'm not saying it to challenge you or not, but with the rate of progression of how things are changing, and I've had conversations with many, and that's what happens is I don't want to say predict the future, but it's almost like interesting to see, does that come true in a sense. But I agree with you. And because now with AI, with the acceleration, I'm curious to see if that horizon shortens. That's all. I agree with you from what you're saying. From what I see, if you're not too late yet, a lot of people are worried about being too late to adopt AI. And I just want to have a few more questions on this for you. But if you wait much longer, you might be a little too late, and then you start panicking. And this all may seem overwhelming to individuals that may not have the technical background or the technical ability at this point to do this, because AI is technology, or they may not even understand it so much because it's such a vast ocean of technologies encompassed in the word AI. I mean, if you look at AI, what is AI, and break down the technologies in it. If you could give a couple pointers for those that need to start their journey, where can they go to get started on this journey? Not necessarily saying, okay, well, you have to go here, or you could use this or do that. Like, what are some things they can think of, and where they can get some more information or feel a way to strategize to start their journey?
Well, okay. So let me
There's a lot in there, you know. I speak a lot.
I'll piece it apart. If you are, as an individual, as just for your own adoption, if you are just like, quite literally pick one of the models, ChatGPT, Gemini, look, if you're on Axie like Grok, whatever that might be, at Copilot, if you're kind of forced into the Microsoft Copilot, like just pick one and ask it how you can use it for your own personal use cases, and tell it to ask you a series of questions to get to better know you so it can make a suggestion of where to get started. Like the model will quite literally tell you, this is how you can use me in a way that will feel valuable to you. If you just
That's simple.
That's as a person. Now,
okay.
If you are a leader and you are working in an organization and you're under pressure to accelerate the adoption of AI, what is not working is giving everyone tools and letting random acts of AI happen. Like you're going to wake up one day, you're going to find out skyrocketing subscription and token costs. AI will be everywhere, but impact will be nowhere. So don't do that. The thing where to start there is to be intentional about, okay, well, what is the role of AI here? Is it productivity? Is it meant to accelerate the growth of the business? Like get a North Star, and then from there figure out, okay, well, based on my organization, what technology makes the most sense, and just one frontier model, like figure out which one you want to place your bet on. And it's okay, they leapfrog each other every other month. So just pick one and get your team going. And the smartest thing to do from there is to map your use cases. And this is where some leaders get in trouble because they've over time got further and further away from how the business gets done day to day. So if you're a CMO and you haven't sent the email in a decade, you may not know that it's 21 steps to get from an idea out the door. You actually have to understand what are the core workflows and then map those workflows and those tasks against a simple quadrant: high impact, low impact, high effort, low effort, and run at as fast as you can the high impact, low effort use cases right away. And that'll get you at least the feeling of momentum. You'll have, and a good example of this could be if you're in marketing, everyone knows how bad data undermines campaign performance. Everyone knows that records that I might send to sales, call them leads, missing all the needed data for them to effectively pursue those leads. Enrich the records. Use AI to do that. High impact that supports pipeline creation or accelerates like the closing of deals. That's where I would start. Fun fact: a way to hack the whole thing, and this is regardless of who you work with. So I'll try not to turn this into a sales pitch. If you're responsible for a team and you're not really quite sure where to start, sometimes you can make a decision to outsource some sort of body of work and just outsource it to an AI forward partner, somebody that's already figured out how to use AI in the use case that you decide to outsource it on. And then you can report to the board, we are using AI, we're using it for campaign production. It looks like this. And instead of taking 92 days to get into market with a campaign, now it's 2 weeks. They don't need to know that you outsource campaign execution to deliver that result. They just know that you're using AI to accelerate campaign speed to market. So.
And they care about, and most of the times they care about the results. It's not always the how. It's if you produce and it's successful, a lot of times no one's going to question, what did you do to make us successful? Don't do that. Yeah. They'll usually give you a little praise and ask not for negative feedback, but ask because they want to know what works and maybe apply it elsewhere as well.
When you think about leaders, those leaders that one thing most people fail to recognize is that believe it or not, C-suite, the board, the investors, they don't actually care how you got it done, especially if you got it done for less costs and got it done faster. They quite literally don't care that instead of using 57 in-house resources, you actually outsource some portion of your work to get it done fast. No, you delivered impact. That's what they care about. You might have given the company a competitive advantage because you outmaneuvered around this emerging market opportunity. You're not going to be let go because of that. You're going to be let go if you're in there talking about how you do all the things. And we kept all of it in-house and we kept all of our humans busy. Like, that's not going to work. Not going to work.
Yes, it's the output that is important. No, thank you. That's some great insights. But also, what started some of this is you also have a new book. Well, it's several months old now, since we first spoke about it. It's the
Limitless CMO.
Yes, I wanted to bring up the Limitless
Awesome.
CMO, and thank you for sending me that copy. I appreciate it. What is that book about?
Well, it's written for B2B marketing leaders, and really at this point in time, it's meant to help those B2B marketing leaders transform marketing from this wildly overworked, underappreciated order-taking function into becoming the market-making function for their organizations. That's the big thing. And the book is basically a collection of practical frameworks that could shift you out of really being that order-taking function that is responsible for creative production to being this growth-driving engine. But the 3 levers are how to run marketing like a business, like a professional services business that breaks the company's feeling like you exist to take orders from product and sales and everyone else in the building. The second is how to leverage strategic outsourcing like IT, like finance, like the other functions have kind of mastered over the last 2 decades, and all the options, pros and cons, and how to think about building a partner ecosystem so that they work together with your in-house team. And the third is how to accelerate your adoption of AI. And the premise here is that marketing usually is burdened by all these limits, that if you use those 3, you can free yourself of all your limits, become limitless. So
the Limitless CMO. Well, Lisa, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. I really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate your time. Anytime you spend with someone, it's time you spent not doing something else. It's time that you don't get back. Time is truly the currency of life, in my opinion. So I really do appreciate and value that. I do think I'll have to put a note to follow up with you, and maybe
check back in.
Yes, maybe about a year. Well, you said 9 to 18 months, I believe, so or 12 to 18 months. So we'll check back in with about a year or so, just to see where we are in the world, because I will be interested to see where web pages are, where marketing strategies lie, and all the other things we talked about. If anyone would like to get in contact with you to talk more about how AI can help from the marketing perspective, or learn more about some of the books that you had created, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
If you are looking to get in contact with me directly, lisacole.ai, and this is if you're personally looking for advice, or LinkedIn, Lisa Cole 01. If you are a B2B marketing leader and you're wrestling with all these challenges we've talked about and you're looking for help, that's www.2x.com. So human, individual, my books are all listed on lisacole.ai. If you're looking for help to figure out how to accelerate your adoption of AI and or keep up with these unreasonable expectations, 2x.com.
Great.
Sweet.
Thank you again for taking time to speak with us.
Thank you.
I'm really inspired, and I learned so much from this conversation. Thank you again. I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you, Lisa.
It's a great opportunity. For having
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.